Hey, y'all, it's your girl, Claudia Jordan, and we are back with TGIF. We're here to spill the tea and break down the biggest headlines in the news and on social media. So sit back, relax, and get ready for this hot tea. Please welcome Al Reynolds. What's up, Al?
What's going on, Claudia? What's up, soulmates?
And please welcome Armand Wiggins. What's up, Armand?
Hey, 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 I'm here.
You're in Mexico, right?
Yes, I'm in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico right now.
Okay. We all hope that we're going to pray for your Wi-Fi or my Wi-Fi. You in
Oh,
Mexico, I'm in Aruba.
please,
Al gonna be
we're
the
praying
only
for no mistakes today.
Al gonna be the only one with the stable internet. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully we all gonna be solid tonight. But okay, are y'all drinking tonight? What's going on?
Yes, I am. Well, it's kind of watered down, but I'm having a passion fruit margarita, and this is like my second one. So yeah, it's one of those days for me.
Uh-oh. All right, Al, drinking?
Yeah, definitely. I've gone back to my buttery Chardonnay tonight. Back to my buttery Chardonnay.
Okay. Well, my friend missed her flight today, my girl Chancey, so she gonna join me tomorrow. So I didn't want to. I felt like I'd be like real loserish just sitting outside by myself, just drinking drinks. So I'm gonna wait till a little while so I get to that casino. So y'all gonna be the spicy ones tonight. So let's get into these topics. All right, we're gonna start off the show with some good news. A man on Instagram posted that he was stuck in traffic and decided to get out and walk 30 minutes to his daughter's school so he wouldn't miss her graduation. What are your thoughts on this heartwarming story, Al? What do you think?
Man, Claudia, this story really warmed my heart. A, because it was a black father, and he did what it was necessary to get to his baby girl's graduation. It just seems to me that she's 100% a daddy's girl. He had the flowers, he had the balloons. He was like, any means necessary, I'm getting to my daughter's graduation. I just wish more men were committed like this. But thumbs up to this father, and congratulations to the little girl.
That's super nice. He walked 30 minutes. I'm trying to get a text back. Armand, what you think about this story?
I'm trying to decide how I want to feel about the moment. Okay, it was great. It was nice. It was sweet. Like, I loved it. I wish, my parents would be in a situation where they would do that for me. But my only thing is, like, call an Uber. I mean, you could have probably called an Uber. I probably wouldn't have walked. I would have called an Uber. And then two, this may err on the little negative side, but at the end of the day, why record it? Like, why does it have to become content? It just kind of feels a little performative to me. If that's just kind of what you do, then you do it. But it gets weird when people, like, you have literally a cameraman recording you walking and doing it. But I get it. But, it's cool. But, like, the fact that it's for social media makes it a little weird for me.
They said traffic was backed up, and Rosemary Watson said that's what he's supposed to do. Lauren agrees with you, Armand, said, who filmed it? And Lamarius Jones says, now that's a father. And so D'Angelo said it's so refreshing to see black fathers going that extra mile for their kids, literally. Yeah, he filmed it. He made content out of it. But, I'm not really against when people put positive stuff online because I feel like people film negative stuff all day long. So I'm okay with that. I mean, I think it's cute, and then maybe he's doing it to inspire other fathers to go that extra mile or three. All right. Misa Hylton, the mother of Diddy's son, Justin Combs, recently spoke out regarding the video of Cassie being attacked. She said, I am heartbroken that Cassie must relive the horror of her abuse, and my heart goes out to her. I know exactly how she feels, and through my empathy, it has triggered my own trauma. What do you think of her post? And do you think she was hinting at Diddy doing the same to her? I'm going to go back to you, Al. What do you think?
This was hard, Claudia. I don't know. I really feel like that Misa Hylton, you can tell, has a lot that she would like to share. And one day I can't wait till she gets to the comfortability level to share it. That's going to be a hot story right there, because we know she is the mother of Diddy's oldest child, Justin, correct? I think Justin is the oldest of all his kids. So I think she has seen, heard, and been through some stuff, even understanding and listening to all the women after her who she befriended and are presently helping to raise their children. Now, this is a deal. I love the fact that she said, listen, do not place these kids in the same boat as Diddy, because these kids were raised by strong black women. Now, my only comma or question mark to that is, all right now, Misa, I like you, I follow you, and I think you've been very transparent and honest. But if that's the case, what's going on with King Combs? I hope those allegations of him raping that young lady on the boat who was a stewardess, exhibiting, fondling her and being very aggressive towards her and raping her is not true, because if it is, those are the same behaviors that his father exhibits.
Weepa Loco said she's been posting a lot lately, and Rosemary Watson said, yeah, she was hinting at it, but if you're going to tell it all, hush. I hate when people tell people to hush. Like, she can tell when she feels like telling it.
Right.
And Weepa Loco said she wants to say a lot, but can't. She's been around since 91. Armand, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that she's in a catch-22, right? So, like, if she doesn't say anything, we're gonna drag her. Like, hey, what do you have to say? You're one of the only ones that is alive. What is your opinion on this? But if she says too much, it's like you're trying to take away from Cassie's moment. So I think her speaking and showing support for the girls and the sons, it's perfect. It's a perfect amount of her speaking. She doesn't need to speak too much, but she doesn't not need to not speak at all. So I think her time will come. So I think that she needs to keep doing what she's doing because eventually we'll want to hear more from her.
Fisheye Jedi said, but stay quiet until now. And Tam B. Dan said, of course he smacked her around. He smacked everybody up except J-Lo because that would have landed him in jail. And Tanya Christopher said that video is triggering for anyone that's experienced domestic violence. Let's talk about anger issues. I think most women are in a position, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You speak too soon, you're doing it for clout. You take too long for their taste, then why now? I think she said a lot without saying a lot. If you read between the lines, she said it triggered my own experiences. She said she has empathy. I totally understand how you feel. She's telling us, been there, done that as well. And I think at the hands of the same exact man. PYT said many women were triggered by that video. Not all abused women were abused by Diddy. She doesn't have to tell if she doesn't want to. I think a lot of women were definitely triggered. You just look online, everyone's kind of sharing their own stories. And then, of course, being told to shut up. And it's not about them. But okay. She's not the only one speaking out. Roger Bonds, Diddy's former bodyguard, also recently confirmed the abuse. Take a look.
How many times did you personally witness him be violent towards women?
Around 4 or 5 times.
Was that all with Cassie, or was it Cassie and other women?
I seen him with Cassie, and I seen him with Kim Porter, his kid's mother.
All right. People come out the woodwork now. Once Cassie put a little crack in that dam, it's just overflowing now. Armand, what do you think?
I believe him, and people want to know like why he didn't do more. And when I watched the interview, I was thinking, well, why didn't you do more? Like, why didn't you do more to step in? But I had to think about it. His job was to protect Diddy, and he was getting paid. So he could only do so much. And he made something very clear in the interview. He said, listen, I would try to talk to Cassie. Many people would try to tell her stuff. And what would end up happening is it would backfire on us because then she would go back and get cool with Diddy and tell him what we told her. And then he would call us and be upset. So at that point, I need to back off. And I'm with him on that. So at the end of the day, he was in between a rock and a hard place, but I definitely believe everything that he's saying.
Okay, Al, what are your thoughts?
Let me tell you something, Claudia and Armand. This is very damaging. I mean, this is super damaging to Diddy and his case. We're going to hear more from this bodyguard because these are the types of people that Homeland Security and the federal agencies will call on to share their stories. And their stories are more credible than anybody else's. Everybody knows that bodyguards, as well as drivers, are the most credible sources for violence or behavior of a particular individual. Now, people have asked, what about the NDA? Because he's not supposed to be talking or sharing these experiences. Remember, NDAs work great, but they don't work great when it's a criminal investigation. And in this case, because it's a criminal investigation, the NDA does not work. Now, listen, bodyguards are the closest to you. They spend the most time with you. They are frontline with unfavorable or unfiltered behaviors. They usually are the first and only witnesses of behaviors that are described by people like Diddy. They have a longevity of relationship with the person like Diddy. And they are also, because they are bodyguards, always involved in crisis. Those are the main reasons why anything that comes out of his mouth will not only be trusted and believed, but also used to support to put that man in jail.
Mrs. Burns says it makes him look weird. Why didn't he call the police? And Bernice Johnson said, why is he speaking about it now? He did nothing before. That's not necessarily true because even Cassie and Annika is saying the same thing I'm about to say. Cassie named him in her lawsuit and she said that he did try helping her. Listen, a lot of times, we've all had friends that complain to us about how bad their boyfriend or their girlfriend is. And we sit there, we be like, okay, what time we ride? And I got your back. And then a week goes by and then they kind of made up. And then that person hates you because you had their back. Or they look at you funny. So I understand that. Imagine getting paid and that you're on the payroll. I get his conflict, but I do like that she did say earlier that he did try to help her. So it's not like he's just jumping on this clout train and just saying it now. He did try behind closed doors. So I think that says
and let me add to this real quick. And that goes to show that he did try to help her. And she went back and told him what, he would tell her. So she respected him. So I don't think the people in the comments are trying to make it seem like he didn't do enough. He did enough, and she recognized that he did enough.
And I also want people to recognize, the way you think now, being in a healthy situation, is not the way you think when you're in an abusive situation. No one starts out the gate with punching you in your face. They start with little things and they get control of your mind first and your will, actually. And then they work on the body. And there's no way no one comes out the gate with that. So I think this has been years of working on Cassie and grooming her. So, all right, moving on. Derek Chauvin, the former police officer serving time in prison for the killing of George Floyd, has been slapped with a $9 million lawsuit. Patty Day claims that back in 2020, he yanked her from the car, fractured her tooth, and injured her arm and shoulder, among other things, while he was on duty. Do you think she has enough proof to win this lawsuit? Al, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And unfortunately for the people on the other side of this legal table, we saw all the proof. During the George Floyd trial, if you watched it, all the proof, the long history of his behavior, his aggressive behavior, his inappropriate behavior, his inappropriate techniques, and how he used it for years, hiding behind that shield. So all of her groundwork has been done. Cleverly, whoever decided to do this lawsuit is very, very smart. Now, the question is, do they pursue this criminally or do they pursue this civilly? And I think because he's already in prison, it may be smart for them to attack this from a civil angle and charge the police department instead of him, because what money does he really have?
Yeah, he's not going to get $9 million. He ain't sit on $9 million. That's for sure. Armand, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I totally agree with what Al said, 100%, all of that, because at the end of the day, this was the best time to now strike. So whoever's on our legal team is doing their big one, because listen, even if she didn't have a lot of proof, the George Floyd is enough proof. His back history is enough proof to where anybody would believe it. The guy's in jail already for misconduct. So I think this will be an easy case for her to win, and she definitely should try to get some money out of this situation.
Derek Chauvin definitely has a long history, so much so that even a soulmate has experience with this. Katie Pop 3 says his punk self roughed up my cousin in Minneapolis. And there's other people that were coming forward, like George Floyd wasn't the first. It's going to be his last, though. But there's other people that were saying he did similar things. There was another young black man that said he put his knee on his neck, too. But, fortunately, he didn't pass. All right, y'all, don't go anywhere, because coming up next, a teacher brings the unthinkable to school. And later, we get into some crazy T-mail. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
We are chopping it up with the host of Marriage Bootcamp, Dr. Ish Major. Welcome to the show.
TGIF. When you and I sit down and have a heart-to-heart with no phones, no distraction, am I your person? That's the question.
Every weekday.
Kelly says, I love Ish on my screen. Is he single, asking for a friend?
Join the chat.
I am single, Kelly. Who's the friend?
Kelly, who's the friend? Please comment back.
On Fox Soul.
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers. The sisterhood of women in tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. Because when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
My mom wanted my life to be better than what she had as a kid. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. You always want the next generation to have something better than what you had.
Welcome back to TGIF. All right, while people are outraged about a teacher getting his hair taken down by students, Candace Carter, an elementary school teacher in Virginia, was caught bringing drugs to school. But it gets worse. Her husband was caught in the school's parking lot, unresponsive after he suffered a drug overdose with their 2-year-old in the car. What do you think should happen to these parents, Al?
Hey, I think these parents should be locked up and the kids should be taken away. It's so hard because when you talk about addictions and drug use, they're not rational. They don't behave in a rational way. They do crazy stuff just like this. So the question is here, do you put them in jail for their behavior or do you try to get them help? And that's a very thin line that I'm still on the fence about. And in this case, to know that one is in the schoolhouse acting crazy and one is out in the car overdosing on drugs is beyond what I would say criminal. I would say that's definitely more mental and they need support. Now, I do want to shout out that resource worker, the guy who was on site, who recognized her behavior and through their training decided that something was not right. And in the intent of protecting the kids, he cleared the classroom, focused down on what was going on with this particular teacher, handled it, addressed it, and had her removed immediately, which forced them to then go out in the parking lot and discover the father. Great job, resource worker.
Our dog said they both look crazy. Bully said, no shade. She looks like the Crypt keeper off Tales from the Crypt back in the day. And Mrs. Burns says, jail, jail. They should never be parents to anyone. Armand, what do you think about this?
You just read the comments right out of my mouth. She looks like a meth addict. I'm just thinking about this. What does she wear to the job interview? What kind of screening are these schools doing? Like, do they even do, drug tests anymore? Is that a thing? I feel like these school systems need to get better with the teachers that they're bringing on board. And, and your appearance is everything. You can tell a drug addict. She looks like a weirdo, a crackhead, and a meth addict. So at the end of the day, there's no excuse. And she should absolutely, I don't care how cuckoo or crazy or how off kilter you are. If you got a job as a teacher, your responsibility is to protect those students. So if you're bringing drugs into the school, you need to go to jail. There's no help. There's no support. There's no rehab, because if one of those kids would have got a hold of those drugs and died, that would have been a big problem and nobody would have cared about your mental illnesses.
I get we have a shortage of teachers, right? And it's been really bad, especially since COVID, and especially since our country refuses to pay them what they're worth. But like with the black male teacher, I just cannot help but draw the parallels here. The black male teachers, it's like the worst thing he did, he had his hair taken down by some students, right? And this lady, I'm curious to see what ends up happening to this broad here. I don't know. And I really find it shocking to believe that this was her first time messing up or coming to work weird or seeming like she's on something. These are, in my opinion, seasoned drug addicts is what they're giving, in my opinion. All right, y'all, we have a couple of comments. McQueen said they just take anyone now. And Sylvia Andrew says, get them help if they want it. Otherwise, jail will do. And Lapoda said, what the hell? ODing at the school? God help that poor baby. Imagine those are your parents. All right, y'all, we have a horrible story to report. A black family of 5 lost their lives after their house was set on fire by then 16-year-old Kevin Boy. Kevin apparently lost his iPhone, tracked it to the wrong house, and set it ablaze. He was using the Find My Phone feature on the phone. It showed the phone was in the area, and he went to this house. Now, he was assisted by 2 of his friends. Dylan received 7 years, and Gavin received 40 years. Kevin recently pleaded guilty and is facing up to 60 years. Do you believe the sentencing is fair? Armand, I'm going to you first.
Absolutely. Even if they would have offered him the death penalty, it would have been fair. You killed a whole family of people over an iPhone. At some point, we got to know, listen, nobody can get into your phone. So at the end of the day, if you lose that phone, move on, get a new one, get an insurance claim. You don't take 5 innocent people's lives. But at the same time, too, Find My iPhone, y'all got to get more accurate with this stuff because you got crazy people on the loose. And if it's not accurately placed, like people are losing their lives. So, but at the end of the day, I definitely think that the sentencing is worth it and worthy.
I actually think it should be further because he got 60 years and I think it's second-degree murder. It wasn't first-degree murder where it's like, that's to me, premeditated. You thought about it, you found them, you tracked them down, you lit their house on fire, you killed 5 people. And I see people in comments online saying they're calling for, we definitely need a crime bill for us. Like, we have the anti-Asian, the hate crime bill for them. Where's the one for Black people that have been suffering the most, I think? Al, what do you think?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not enough time. Absolutely not. Where in America can you go in the wrong house, burn up 5 Black people, 3 others injured from trying to get out, breaking legs and limbs, and not get the death or the life in prison? Instead, this prosecutor negotiated a plea deal. Why are we plea dealing with anyone who dedicated, premeditated first-degree murder, premeditated arson, premeditated burglary? This is all premeditated, and 2 sentences of second-degree murder is called privilege, and it's not necessary. If there were a Black person who broke in someone's house and burned up 5 non-Black people, I promise you he would either be electrocuted or he would be in prison for life. I don't understand this. And let me tell you the other thing I'm outraged about. I'm outraged that nobody is covering this in mainstream media. Where is the coverage of this weirdo breaking into people's house, killing innocent people, and harming 3 others? Where is the coverage? Why isn't this on CNN? Why isn't this all over the media? Why isn't this in all our news channels? You want to know why? Because it's called privilege and it's not fair.
Oh, let me ask a question real quick to both of you guys. Do you guys think even if he did get the death penalty, is that an easy way out? Because, if he's sitting there 60, 70 years, you have to literally sit in a cell every day for the rest of your life and think about you killing people. Sometimes I feel like the death penalty is the easy way out.
I mean, listen, let me tell you something. You don't have the right to take other people's life at this level over this type of nonsense. It's the wrong house. So what is this family going to do? How are they going to recover? There were 2 babies who were under 12 months old who had a lifetime of life to live that he took because of his ignorance. He doesn't deserve to live. And if he does, he deserves to be in prison for life. Let me tell you, and the sad part is when you do a negotiation where you get 2 terms of second degree, you have the ability to get out of prison. He should never have the ability to get out of prison or be allowed a reduced sentence because of good behavior, because this behavior was disgusting.
He's facing 60 years. He's not sentenced.
Up to.
Yeah,
Two separate charges.
So he doesn't have to necessarily get 60 years.
That's
he can
right.
Out, and they can go on a good behavior, first offense. Oh, traumatized as a child.
No.
I remember when COVID was out and people were wild out and being very abusive to Asian folks, and a few people some people got hurt and got violated and got disrespected. Congress wasted no time with the anti-Asian, like the hate bill, right? The hate crime bill. Black people have been here for 400 and some years. Where the hell is our bill? Where is it? Where is it? Where we had add extra years when one of us are like targeted for our race or our whole family's wiped out? Because first of all, wrong house is a crazy explanation. Because whatever house you went to is often like it's so ridiculous. But the fact that I don't know, I just sit here and watch every other nationality get their specific race, gender, nationality, religious protected.
Right.
Where is it for Black people? We get it the most. Sylvia Andrews said he got a deal because the victims were of a darker shade. Absolutely, I 1,000.
Absolutely right.
And Honey said they don't want the kid and people's images to be tainted. And Lamone Music said, trust, the whole Asian community would be in uproar if the roles were reversed. Oh my God, 1,000%. And Bay Lele said, wrong house or right. How do we see the bigger picture? Over a phone.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's why I don't believe it was just a phone.
We have no conflict resolution skills in this country anymore. I just think babying people and just making everyone get a participation trophy is making people weak and soft. And if they cannot resolve any issues, they have to resort to just go from 0 to 100. And this is a perfect example I hope he gets violated lots of times in prison. That is not the views of Fox Soul. That's my personal one. I hope it's really rough for him. I really do. Lil Nas X recently spoke out after congratulating Beyonce and other artists who tend to fuse hip hop and R&B into country. He said, "I wish this would have happened for me. I wasn't even able to experience this." Does Lil Nas X have a valid point? And do you think Lil Nas X actually helped open the door for a different type of country music to enter? Armand, what do you think?
Listen, I love Lil Nas X. He's one of my favorites, but I feel like on either points, he just needs to shut up. Like, that song literally made you who you were. You are Lil Nas X because of Old Town Road. People celebrated you. People loved you. And then you were able to troll and turn in and morph into Satan and the devil and all of these different things. So I would have just set this one out because it's given ungrateful and it's given trying to take away from other people's moment. Like, dude, you're here. You're rich. You're famous. You're successful. Like, if you don't have anything nice to say, and I don't feel like this was nice, I feel like this was a slick, like, little bit of shade to take away from someone else's moment. He should not have said anything at all. So I didn't really like it. And if I was Beyonce or anybody else in this genre, I would have felt like, dude, shut up.
And comparing yourself to Beyonce's impact on country music when you were a new artist at the time, I think is a little bit wild to me. Lil Nas X is known for fusing hip hop and R&B, but apparently it had him removed from the country charts. Al, what do you think about this comment?
I think Lil Nas X is a marketing and trolling genius. And this is him exhibiting his behavior at the highest. And we once again are talking about your trolling skills and not your musical genius skills. Yes, you do need to be quiet because you are trying to step into the chat and get publicity based off of two things. That is talking about Beyonce and talking about how you felt you got slighted. Once again, we're talking about other things other than how great you are as a talent. And I'm like, Armand, please be quiet.
BBT said, "I'm sorry, but I haven't heard about him in a while and I'm okay with that." Kev, the creator, says Lil Nas had that one country hit. It wasn't consistent, just a lot of gimmicks. That is true. You came up, you burst on the scene with a very different sound. It was very unique. But your follow-up stuff, you did have a couple that were cool songs, but then you wanted to do all that weird stuff with the devil in America, which has a lot of, people that claim like to be very religious and Christians and stuff like that. So how did you think that was going to go over? How did you think, sir? I think you should be happy to be where you are. I think you've done a great job with the All right, coming up next, you won't believe how the Southern food hush puppies got their name. And later, a woman is indicted for exposing HIV to hundreds of people. That's straight ahead. We'll be back.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you, and we'll figure it out."
We are chopping it up with the host of Marriage Bootcamp, Dr. Ish Major. Welcome to the show.
TGIF.
When you and I sit down and have a heart-to-heart with no phones, no distraction, am I your person? That's the question.
Every weekday.
Kelly says, "I love Ish on my screen. Is he single? Asking for a friend."
Join the chat.
I am single, Kelly. Who's the friend?
Kelly, who's the friend? Please comment back.
On Fox Soul.
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers. The sisterhood of women in tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. Because when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
There was a time in my life where I was extremely homesick. I decided that I needed a pet. When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. He jumped up and kissed me and jumped right into my arms. I immediately went up to the volunteers at the shelter and said, "I want him. He's got to come home with me." Now I'm anything but lonely. Every day with turtle is a perfect day.
Welcome back to TGIF. All right, y'all. You know, we got the hookup on how to make your life a little easier, especially when it comes to those finances. Now, listen, life doesn't happen bi-weekly, so why should payday? The money you earn could be in your hands today with Earnin. Earnin is an app that gives you access to your pay as you work, up to $100 per day or up to $750 per pay period. Just download the Earnin app and verify your paycheck, then access up to $100 a day as you work, and leave an optional tip if you like. Any money you access plus tips are automatically repaid from your next paycheck. I think this is a fantastic idea, so you don't have to ask people or strangers in DMs on social media to help you with something with a bill. You can actually just borrow against your own money, and I think this is an amazing thing to help your life be a little bit easier and not, be so embarrassing we have to do that. Now, make Earnin a part of your financial routine and join Earnin's over 3.5 million customers who say things like, when I think about Earnin, I think about financial stability and security. It gives me a lot of peace of mind. Download Earnin today, spelled EARNIN, in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the Earnin app, please type in T under podcast when you sign up because it'll really help out our show. That's TEA under podcast. Now that's subject to your available earnings, location, daily max, and pay period. See earnin.com/TOS for details. Earnin is a financial technology company, not a bank. Bank products are issued by Evolve Bank and Trust member FDIC. Al, tell us about your experience with Earnin.
Guys, listen, Earnin is the app to have. Listen, did you hear that? $750 per pay period. So if you get paid twice a month, that's $1,500 of financial help and security to help you get through whatever rough patch that you're going through without having to borrow it, without being embarrassed to borrow it from someone. You can get your own money based on your own merits and you can pay it back with all the interest. To me, this is a win-win situation, especially when it comes to like unexpected mechanic stuff, unexpected birthdays, unexpected weddings, and also unexpected medical bills that you may achieve during the course of the month. I can't see anything wrong with this at all. I think everyone should try it if you're in need.
All right, soulmates, you heard them. Promotional considerations furnished by Earnin. Now let's get back to some more topics. All right, so we can all agree that social media tends to resurface some of the most random facts in pop culture history. So it's only fair that we unpack those facts in our T-Fact of the day. All right, today's T-Fact is about how the Southern cornbread dish Hush Puppies got their name. Take a look.
But consider my surprise when I found out the legend behind how they got the name is that when slaves were trying to escape, they would use these to quiet the watchdogs and the dogs that were hunting them down, aka the Hush Puppy. The tactic seemed to work so well that they actually said that Confederate soldiers used the same thing to keep their dogs quiet when Union soldiers were approaching. All these years, you mean to tell me I've been taking a bite out of Black history? Shoot, I'm gonna go out and get me some right now.
I like that, taking a bite out of Black history. All right, I'm going to you first. Are you shocked by this?
Yeah, I think that's actually, but it makes so much sense, right? It's so clever. So that's really interesting. I didn't know that, but I guess I never thought about like what makes it a hush puppy. But that's a great analogy. And if that's true, I like it. It's cool.
There's a viral video going around now. I hope that we can pull some more of these kind of meanings in the next few shows because they break down a whole bunch of other things, like throwing out the baby. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Really disgusting backstory to that. We'll get into that at another time. Al, what did you think about this Black History
Well,
fact?
I'm the facts guy here. We have to separate the facts from the fiction, and this is absolutely not true. So many food historians have leaned into this, and they've actually said, people like Robert Moss, that this is 100% not true. Now, the Black history part that is true is that it's called red horse bread, which was discovered by Romeo Gavon, who is an African-American who was enslaved at that time, that created it and became a well-renowned chef during the Civil War. Now that part is all true. This was created by a Black man, by a Black cook who worked on the plantation. However, it was not used by the slaves to quiet the dogs. In fact, it was used by the soldiers, the Confederate soldiers in the South, to quiet the dogs after they had sniffed down the Yankees who were coming to try to attack them. All of this can be found, obviously, in anything that you research surrounding Robert Moss and other food historians who share this. So the Black history part, we can still praise and enjoy, but nothing was used by the slaves to stop the dogs from hunting them.
Well, if you know these facts, Mr. Faxman, tell us before we do the show so we don't look crazy. Thank you very much. Keep it locked, because coming up next, could you date a man with a lot of kids? And later, is Mary J. Blige wrong for releasing an expensive boot collection to her fans? Fans are saying it's a lot. Keep it locked. We'll be back.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you, and we'll figure it out.
We are chopping it up with the host of Marriage Boot Camp, Dr. Ish Major. Welcome to the show.
TGIF.
When you and I sit down and have a heart-to-heart with no phones, no distraction, am I your person? That's the question.
Every weekday.
Kelly says, I love Ish on my screen. Is he single? Asking for a friend.
Join the chat.
I am single, Kelly. Who's a friend?
Kelly, who's the friend? Please comment back.
On Fox Soul.
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers, the sisterhood of women in tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. Because when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
There was a time in my life where I was extremely homesick. I decided that I needed a pet. When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. He jumped up and kissed me and jumped right into my arms. I immediately went up to the volunteers at the shelter and said, I want him. He's got to come home with me. Now I'm anything but lonely. Every day with turtle is a perfect day.
Welcome back to TGAF. Real quick, I have to say happy birthday to one of our most loyal soulmates, Keith. I have been meaning to do this for the last few days, and I said tonight, I promise. So happy birthday, Keith. And we appreciate you rocking with us from day one, I believe. So happy birthday, Keith. We appreciate your support. All right, y'all. It's now time for us to give advice to our soulmates who are dealing with crazy situations and may need a little guidance. This is our T-mail of the day. All right, this one comes from Texas, from Houston, Texas. That's Mariah in Houston, Texas. She writes, hey, Claudia, Al, and Armand. I was skeptical, but I must admit I've been loving the direction of the show. The topics are well balanced. Keep it up. I love my mom, but she's overbearing. She copies my nail designs, my hairstyles, and she even tries to wear matching clothes when we do go out together. But to top it off, she's trying to move into the vacant condo upstairs from me. How can I tell her she's smothering me without hurting her feelings? P.S. Y'all be nice. She will know this is about her because she also watches the show. Hey, mama, love you, LOL. Al, let's start with you.
Listen, a fan who wrote in, it's a compliment. It's a compliment. I know it may feel smothering, but it's a compliment. Take it as a compliment. You really spark something in her that makes her want to be like you. Somebody that she created was you. So this is what I'm going to say. To preserve both your mental health as well as hers, just have an open conversation with her. I feel like we should do the things that we feel the most uncomfortable doing. And I feel like because you're writing into us, you know the answer. You got to talk to her. Talk to your mom. Have an open and honest conversation and decide what you like and what you don't like. And explain to her what and how it's making you feel. Once you do that, then you could probably solve a lot of the issues.
Fish Eye Jedi said, "What in the Tokyo Tony?" And Debbie Bryant said, "Oh my God, is this my daughter?" Armand, what do you think?
I think that's one of the biggest compliments as well. And I think that, you should appreciate that. I love nothing more than a mother-daughter duo. And I just feel like you only get one mom, and when she's gone, you're going to miss those days. You're going to wish you had those moments. Right. So don't take those for granted. Now, as far as moving upstairs, I feel like you can probably say, hey, Mom, I feel like you guys have that relationship to where you can be like, girl, you can't move upstairs, but we can definitely go do lunch every weekend. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, we also need to take accountability for the energy that you put out towards her, because I feel like your mom wouldn't be this gung-ho if you weren't egging her on. You know what I mean? So if you tell the story, tell the full story, because I feel like you're like, Mom, you should do this. We should wear matching stuff sometimes. And I feel like she did it maybe once or twice and she loved it. You guys got compliments. And now you're just kind of getting bored because you want your own identity. Maybe Mom is getting too much attention and you're not liking it. Is that the tea? You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I just think have fun with it. Enjoy your mom, because a lot of women don't have that relationship. Right. So I wouldn't really change anything.
That's true. And I can see how it can be annoying, though. Like, I got to be a little empathetic to how she's feeling, right? Because she could be like, all right, Mom, you don't have to copy everything. But sometimes you got to keep those thoughts to yourself and not hurt your mom's feelings, because you don't know how much longer you'll have your mom. Maybe that's something you can complain to your friends about, but maybe not tell your mom and make her feel uncomfortable, because it is a compliment that she's trying to copy you. I think, like, flattery is the highest form of a compliment. I really do believe that. Marsha T said, Mariah, set boundaries, mother dearest. Tell Mom you need your space. You love her, but set boundaries. And Candy Camp said, I don't want my mom competing with me. And Ansel D'Angelo said, talk to your mom about it and help her find a man so she can have someone to occupy her time. Okay. All right, soulmates, be sure to DM Fox Soul on Instagram if you are in need of some advice. Who knows? Your letter might just get read here live during the show. All right, y'all, let's jump back into some topics. A woman in Ohio is out here allegedly spreading HIV. Officials in Ohio issued a public health notice after an HIV-infected sex worker had sexual contact with over 200 people. What do you think about this story? And do you think the stigma of HIV being a gay disease will ever end? Al, what do you think?
Let me tell you something. I love the fact, every show, I feel like this one was packed with it. I love the fact that I work at Fox Soul, because we bring these type of stories to the forefront that other outlets do not. I love the fact that it is a woman that we're talking about who is at risk at infecting other people. And the interesting thing is, in 2020, Non-AIDS did a poll. There are 36 million people globally who are infected and living with HIV. And guess what? The majority of them are heterosexual. So the fact that we're talking about this, the fact that we're having these conversations on a platform like this, opens up the idea and the discussion and narrative that this is an LGBTQ focused disease, when it is absolutely not. So I like that we're covering it here on Fox Soul. I'm liking that we're leading with these facts as it relates to women. And we know with Black women, you are the highest rising cases of HIV in America. So this isn't just an LGBTQ issue. And we got to shake this stigma. And us talking about here, we're shaking the stigma.
Our dog, interesting name, said, the blame is on all sides with that one. Never raw dog a sex worker. The F, which, yeah, what are you doing? Neek365 said, they even fake my charts, and the guys in the streets sleep with tweakers. Okay. Armand, what do you think about this story?
Well, first of all, like Al said, I'm so glad it's a woman we're talking about and not a gay boy or a gay man. And I think, a lot of problems with straight men, as far as raw dogging women or sex workers, their fear is not HIV, because they've always been taught that that's a gay disease. And when in fact, they see a woman, they just feel like, if she can't get pregnant, I'm cool with it. Their biggest fear is usually a baby. So I'm glad that these guys are learning now, hey, there's more out there than just getting a person pregnant. Now, it's unfortunate that this woman, knowingly carrying the virus, not taking her medicine, not being undetectable, going out there passing this virus around to all these different men, it's unfortunate. Now, I've been in a situation where someone tried to do that to me, and it was very, very scary, and it's very, very dangerous when someone knows their status and their viral load is to a point where they can still infect you, and they knowingly try to sleep with you without a condom. I talked about this on my platform before, but I literally had sex with this guy and had him put on a condom. I didn't know his status or whatever, but we had just met. But I had him put on the condom. And at this time, I was trying to figure out who I was. So, child, I was on the bottom. So at this point, I was on the bottom, and something told me to check back there, and he had removed the condom and was doing what he needed to do. Luckily, everything came out clean and clear because he didn't, fully get into the things. But I jumped up and I saw my life flash before my eyes. And then later on, I found out that he was, in fact, HIV positive. I was devastated by that because my life could have changed in that very moment. I was young and naive. I was 19, 20 at the time, and he was 34. It was a very dangerous situation. And from that day forward, I've always been really careful about my sexual health because these people don't care.
Oh my God, Armand, thanks for sharing that with wow. Like with
that was the fast version.
What they call that stealth thing when they take the condom off, they remove the condom without even permission. That is awful. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah. Mr. Burns said black women are the highest of the cases because of black men on the down low. Henry Gibbons says she probably given it to black men. And Keisha Smith said, I can't find a man to save my life, and she came in contact with 200. That's a hot 200 men go up in that raw.
I just want to correct something. The new cases in black females isn't from men on the down low. Let's just be very clear. Statistically, that's not correct. And we can't support that here on this platform. Sorry.
Well, I'm just reading the comment from,
No, but I do like that he said that because a lot of times when we get into like women having HIV, it's all of a sudden because they got it from a down low man.
With the man.
And then gay men take their rhetoric on.
It's not true.
Yes, and the gay men take their rhetoric on, well, they got it from somewhere. And I just want to be a person to say, listen, down low men, straight men, whatever, they don't go and dip into the gay pond and pick up HIV and then spread it into heterosexual communities. Like, I just don't buy that. So I'm glad that we talked about that.
Kayla Green said PrEP needs to be promoted everywhere. I actually don't think that. I feel like people need to be strapped up and be more protective about it and not just rely on a drug that could fail. And Naya Couture said, I totally get it. You have to watch these men. They will pull a fast one with removing the condom. Scary, scary stuff, y'all. Please protect yourselves out in these streets and don't rely on PrEP.
Baby,
please.
I got my PrEP and Doxy PrEP, a big bottle. They're sitting right over here for my vacation, baby.
And condoms. Okay.
Oh, but there's condoms here too. But, I got my PrEP and Doxy.
But y'all don't use condoms.
No, I don't use condoms to get my suck. And I don't no condom. Now, if I'm doing the full dude, then I'm gonna use a condom. But at the end of the day, I'm on top now. If I'm banging something, if I'm clapping some cheeks, then I'm gonna use a condom. But at the end of the day, I'm sleeping with my partner, so it's I only have sex with one person. Now, if I get some head, you just know.
Removing a note for the viewers: removing a condom without permission is considered sexual assault and rape. So do not do that.
As he sips his cocktail.
That's down.
Okay, businesswoman Supra recently stopped by a podcast to speak on men with several children and how they treat the mothers of their kids. Take a look.
Would you avoid a man that has 5, 6 kids and things like that, or could a man like that actually catch your attention?
I would avoid a man with 5, 6 baby mamas, not 5, 6 kids.
Okay.
And I always pay attention to how men talk about their baby mama. It matters.
All right. Do you agree? And would you date a man with multiple kids and multiple baby mamas, Al?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it depends on individual values and circumstances. As we know, Muslim men, they are allowed to have multiple wives and multiple kids, obviously, from the multiple wives. However, there's a strict standard. There's strict about fairness and justice and responsibility. And each wife has to be treated fair and equally, and each child has to be provided for. So in that particular case, as it relates to Islamic law, sign me up.
Okay, Armand.
If his name was Nick Cannon, I'd do it. You know what I'm saying? You got to be rich. You've got to have a lot of money, and we got to, you got to understand that, hey, this is just a business at this point. You know what I'm saying? It changed my life forever. So if it was Nick Cannon, I'd do it. But just any Joe Blow on the street, absolutely not. That's too much drama and too many problems. And if you ain't rich, hell no.
I agree with the young lady that said if they had a lot of kids, like, the circumstances, if you were married and, you had 3, 4, 5 kids in your marriage, but if you just out here making a bunch of different broken homes and baby mama here, there, and there, I would not be interested. Instant turn off. I would not even like it, even if it was Nick Cannon. Sorry, Nick. I don't want to compete with your kids' time. I feel like you need to spend time with them and not with me. Like, go be with them. Jermaine Lindy said these men are taking a page out of the Nick Cannon playbook. And Naya Couture said, facts. My husband has 5 children, 2 baby mamas, and he's a great man. All right, let's keep it going. Coming up, we have a lot more show to go, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
We are chopping it up with the host of Marriage Boot Camp, Dr. Ish Major. Welcome to the show.
TGIF.
When you and I sit down and have a heart-to-heart with no phones, no distraction, am I your person? That's the question.
Every weekday.
Kelly says, I love Ish on my screen. Is he single, asking for a friend?
Join the chat.
I am single, Kelly. Who's a friend?
Kelly, who's the friend? Please comment back.
On Fox Soul.
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers. The sisterhood of women in tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. Because when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
My mom wanted my life to be better than what she had as a kid. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. You always want the next generation to have something better than what you had.
Welcome back to the show. All right, y'all. Mary J. Blige released a boot line with Giuseppe Zanotti, and the world has been asking her to do for years. It sold out in under 48 hours. Now, the boot retails for nearly $1,300. Do you think she should have partnered with a brand that her core audience could afford? And if you had a product line, what would it be and what would you name it? Al, let's start with you.
No, I think Mary J. Blige, listen, Mary J. Blige, after the Burger King debacle and her association with Burger King and how that unfolded, took a huge hit to her brand. They teased her, they made fun of her, to the point of the tune that she wanted it taken down and they took it down. She finally felt comfortable with this partnership. It's a high-end boot. Boots are expensive and it matches her brand. I'm sure that she wanted something to match her brand, and I can relate to that. The brand that I would launch and hopefully will be launching very soon is a capsule collection of, eyewear. For me, I'm doing a capsule collection of very high-end horn material eyeglasses. So when you do a capsule collection that focuses on the quality and not the quantity, then your price points are a little bit higher. But the good thing is it lasts longer. So that's what I would do. And I'm pretty sure Mary J. Blige, given her last debacle and brand relationship, did the same.
Fish Eye Jedi said Mary knows those boots should have been at Macy's. And Marquise said, I need her to put a Sheen version out to the broke chicks. Oh, my God. But, they usually start with the high end and then later on spinoffs come off where they do a more affordable brand. That's usually how it goes. Armand, what do you think? And what was your
I say,
brand?
Mary, leave the boots at that price because that's your, like Al said, that's your brand and you want it to feel elevated. And I know all of us on here, we like nice things. So if Mary would have had some Macy's boots, we probably would have got them, but we wouldn't have probably put those on as our first choice. So when we save our money and we go buy those pair of Mary boots, you feel good in them. Not only because they're the Mary J. Blige, but these are $1,300 Mary J. Blige boots. You can't play with me. These is real authentic Giuseppe Zanotti Mary J. Blige edition. You know what I mean? You step differently in those. And I just feel as though like that's important because there are consumers that can afford those things. And I don't think everything should be dumbed down for people that can't or want to be cheap. At the end of the day, y'all might not like that, but everything doesn't need to be able to get consumed by everybody because everything ain't for everybody. If you can't get it, then you need to step your cookies up. Now, for me, the brand that I would like to do is a mind mastering academy, because I've really been on this, or mastering mind academy, because I've really been on this journey of like manifestation and really kind of controlling my thoughts and, focusing things into my existence, into a reality. And a lot of my friends now are doing the 60-day cleanses now. Some of my mentors now that have been mentoring me now, they're doing 60-day cleanses. I found a lot of people. I built a community where, helping people manifest over these cleanses. And I'm going on another one in July. And it's really been helping me, achieve a lot of things in my life. And it's been helping my mental too, because I suffer from a lot of anxiety. So I love it.
Oh, all right. Okay. Keith Dennis said she sold out in 48 hours. Why should she change anything? Apparently there is a market for it. People are buying it up. Mary, I am proud of you. I think this is super cute. And yeah, people are saying in the comments, they want her to be Fashion Nova so bad, and she is a legend. She should not have to. And I agree with that. My brand, I actually had a few things. I actually had a wine called Just Peachy, and I love that because that was a play on when I was on Housewives. But I have to have a lip line now too, under Selfie Cosmetics, Black owned business. And I actually have one right here, and I will be available to sell. It has its own little light in it. And you can use the light, and it's a mirror on it, so you can put it on and use the light to help you out there. So, the glam business, a little bit of that kind of stuff, since I have to do this for work anyway. It's called the Shade Collection by Claudia Jordan. So that is actually a real thing, and y'all can support it probably next month. All right, y'all. Thanks. And I hope all of our ideas and brands blow up and come into fruition and really do their thing. All right. A woman recently caused a frenzy when she posted this to her social media. It says, when you're as extremely beautiful as I am, you can cheat on and leave as many men as you want to. There is no benefit in being a good woman. I drain men of their finances and leave for a new man with a big bag. What do you think has caused this mindset? And does she have a point? Al, let's go to you.
This is letting me know that I have aged out of the dating pool. And this is what's going on. This is what's in trend. I think women speak about wanting sincere and real relationships, but at the end of the day, if we follow her discipline, it's about how much they can provide for her and how much money they can give, and she's not looking for real love. So maybe for this new generation, love is not important. And maybe what's more important to them, because they feel like they've been slighted in the past, is that they need to be rewarded for being who they are. And that's what she's saying, that she's so beautiful that she can cheat without remorse, and that if it doesn't work out, she can move on to the next guy who's paying for it. I mean, me personally, I could never do this, but it's working out for a lot of people in her age demographic.
I think a lot of people do this. They get in relationships for their benefits and for money, and date people that are not even their type just so they can get that bag. Armand, what do you think? Is this for you? Is this a young thing or?
No, it's not a young thing. I think this is a reality. And I think for a long time, people will then feel like, oh my God, you're not all that, and try to break you down, because people are so used to kind of like serving the underdog. And when you're really attractive or hyper attractive, it goes for men and women. They already think it, because they're doing it anyway in their head and into you in relationships. So I just like the fact that she just was honest with it. Like, listen, I look that good. I can do that. Like, I love a person that know that they look good and it can just be like, hey, I'm a part of the 1% that can get away with murder. It is what it is. You feel me? Because a lot of people move that way anyway. They just don't say it. So I respect it.
We have a lot of comments on this. Jermaine Lindy said, the city girl mentality is detrimental to our young ladies. I do agree with that. It's kind of gives a little bit towards prostitution and like no more love. Purple Yellow said she's going to get played one day. Of course, everybody does. And Shannon Fox says, until these men see her pose. I just don't get why you put this on social media, though, because any people that were maybe looking at you, had an eye on you, they're going to know what you're about. Like, why would you give them your playbook? I don't know. And Katie Pop 3 says, it's been in trend. This does not bother men with money.
No.
You think men with money don't care about that? They're like, oh, well, I have to pay. This is part of the game.
Well, yeah, because first of all, most women like mid to ugly men with money. You know what I'm saying? Because women don't like to be competing in the bathroom. So most women find an ugly looking man that's rich, and that man loves for his woman to be beautiful because he gets to spend the money on her. So it works. It just don't work in the gay world like that all the time.
It don't work in my world. Maybe I'm a gay man in a woman's body because I need them to be handsome. Al,
that's because you want a real relationship.
I do. I want to be able to look at you and not just be like, you can't give me a back shot and I have to look at a bag to get excited. I have to look at your face and be like, I love looking at you. I can't keep my hands off of you. I like a good looking, handsome man. Are y'all okay, we have some comments. Do we have more? Okay, who that PYT said, why do women saying this kind of foolishness always get the publicity? They don't represent all women. Yeah, I know. And
sorry, go
ahead. Go ahead, Al. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Read another comment. I just wanted to give a shout out to Bernard, our executive producer. Joyce, our head of programming here at Fox Soul, went under a massive surgery. Bernard supports us every night by watching the show along with Joyce. And I want to just say congratulations. I'm glad the surgery was a success. And Bernard, I'm glad you're on the other side. And I'm glad everything went well.
Cheers to a successful recovery, and we wish you well. Sending positive vibes. I want to thank my co-hosts Al Reynolds and Armand Wiggins for joining me tonight. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Stay tuned for Fox Soul's Face Off, and we will see you back here tomorrow. And have your drinks ready, fellas. It's gonna be Friday. We're gonna have fun. Thursday. I'm sorry, Thursday.